Okay, I've been researching for. I think I'm gonna have a look in a minute on Google History just how long. Just when I actually started in earnest. Um, how did I get started? I think I've made a few fleeting visits to certain websites in the past, like mythological, mostly mythological kind of stuff. Never really taken it anywhere, so I just like had a little glance, and then I think um, about 12 years ago, I picked up a huge encyclopedia history of the world. I can't remember who published it, um, but I picked that up from a library and I started taking notes. And I came across a character named Gilgamesh, I don't think I'd ever heard of this guy before. And I took several notes on this passage of this book. And I think that would be the real starting point, and that was a catalyst for me basically getting more and more interested in ancient history, because there was something that really sprang out at me when I was reading about this Gilgamesh. I mean, now it's well known that he was a giant, but I don't think it mentioned in the encyclopedia, the history encyclopedia, that he was a giant. It just gave details of the tales of Gilgamesh and what he was renowned for, and I don't think it actually mentioned the word giant once, but looking at the text and reading the text closely, I kind of figured out, well, this has got to be a giant. So therefore, if this guy lived and he was real, then giants existed. Because at that stage of my life, there's a lot of things that still remained kind of mythological, or in other words, there's no evidence that proves their existence. I think I left it at that point. I put that book down, and then I didn't refer back to them notes, but I still have them somewhere. So I should have actually applied myself to do my research a lot earlier. It's only like, I think it's 3 years ago when I started. I'm going to check Google History now. Right, while it's having a search for this thing I've typed in. I've typed in Homs, Syria, because I remember I was looking at the Middle East, very interesting part of the world on Google Maps. It looks very interesting geologically, and topographically it's a very interesting place. If you actually zoom right in on the Middle East, there's some very interesting features. So yeah, I started around the desert regions of the Middle East, because that's where it all started, really. That's where I think there were the first ever settlements on Earth. It's like Eridu and I can't remember all the Shirupak, all these names that I'd never heard of in the Middle East, that no longer exist. But there's just like faint remnants of these places that go way back in time. There's all kinds of different places that people may have never heard of. Certainly never heard of them until I started watching some YouTube videos from people who was more knowledgeable than myself, far more knowledgeable on these matters. So I think I started looking at Syria and the neighbouring countries, a few neighbouring countries like Iraq and Syria, on Google Maps. So I think Google Maps is really where my research began in earnest. And then I started reading the Bible and taking notes from the Bible, and that's the point where I really thought, my God, this is referring to extraterrestrials. This is referring to to beings that were non-human. So that's the impression I got from the Bible, and the impression I also got was that maybe there's more to the Bible than we first think. Very interesting stuff, and I kind of like captivated by the Bible. So there's nothing, no return on my search there. Right, I'm just going to pause and do a sit filter. So I've just found this around March the 13th, 2021, which is almost three years ago. I was getting a bit. I was a bit curious about Roswell, the Roswell incident, and I was kind of looking at material on that. It's not quite part of my research as it is today. And then I was looking at Skinwalker Ranch after the Roswell incident. So that was around March 18th. And then I was looking at kind of like maps of Native American tribes. I don't think that was connected to my research though, I think that might be something else. Yeah, I was looking at an interactive world map. I was looking for an interactive world map because I wanted to pin down kind of certain things like markers. Or I wanted my own image of the kind of like blank image of the world, like the world map. And then I was going to pin down some markers, like how to add markers on Google Maps. But like you have like cork boards and you stick those coloured things in. It was going to be similar to that, but in digital form. So I can't remember what it was I was going to do. But I think it was connected to UFO sightings, and I think I was trying to kind of make some kind of connection and try and find out where all the UFO sightings have been reported around the world. And then I think the idea was that I was then going to check out those areas geologically, to see if there's any kind of just connection. But I think that's the first stage of my research. So it started with the UFO thing, and then I was trying to find a world map. Little did I know that it was all there for you on Google Maps anyway. I mean, you've got Google Earth or Google Maps. I think Google Maps is I don't know which one's best, Google Maps or Google Earth, but I know when you're looking at the ocean for anomalous areas, certainly Google Earth is better because you can get much better detail. Just started noticing stuff and then zoomed in when I noticed stuff, and then so what I would do, I'd kind of click off all the place names, etc., and just basically focus on the terrain without the hindrance of all the place names. And then if I found something interesting, I would then click the place names, mark it to get the information of the location, and then take a screen capture. And I bet that's how my research kicked off. And then also looking at the Bible for the first time in my life. I had been given a Bible, a small kind of Bible, King James version, a few years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, by somebody, and never really read it. The text in it is so small that you need like fucking Dame Edna glasses to read it. So, or Dennis Taylor glasses, but I don't have them. So I was told also that you can actually read it online, the King James version, and I guess you can read any version online, but the guy told me that if you struggle to read the book physically, then just basically look online, because the same thing's online, but you can, you've got the enlarged text, and it's probably a lot easier to use and read. So eventually I did that, and I found it quite riveting. I really kind of indulged myself into reading it like by the day, and just taking screen captures of the text, and then I would then if I found a place name, I would go and research that and get as much information as I possibly could on that, without spending too long, but just obtaining whatever information I could quickly. Took screen captures of that, and then I kind of slotted that into a folder so that Bible text would be there also in the folder, and then also all the research I got would be under that kind of place name, or whatever reference was given in the Bible to place name, characters, certain figures in the Bible, and just getting all. That's how I started off with the Bible, and I was doing that parallel to my just looking at Google Maps. So it started off really interesting, and it just got more and more interesting. So I'm going to explain how I started branching out in my research. So I figured that, you know, it's all right looking at Google Maps because you can zoom right in on the terrain and etc. But I thought, if I really want to get close up, because you can only go so far with a zoom, if you really want to get close up, then the best idea is to try and find people who are walking through these areas, so hikers. And that's I started off with hikers, and I found a really good channel, where the guy, there's no bullshit attached to this channel. It's just no music, it's just the guy walking. He produces like videos that sometimes like 6 hours in length, and he'll like, I think one video is like 18 hours long, almost 18 hours long, 17 to 18 hours long, in 3 parts. And I basically screen captured my way all the way through that from start to finish. It was pretty epic. But it doesn't say a damn word throughout, and all credit to him for not doing that. He adds no music, no bells and whistles. It's all just the sounds of nature, him walking. I've not found any other channel that kind of is equal to this particular channel. So it deserves a lot of credit. And I think the idea of not speaking and doing any commentary of whatsoever, and also just including the sounds of nature and just leaving out all the music and stuff. There's no music whatsoever. There's no talking. It's just the sounds of nature and the landscape, and it works perfectly. And for me, that was where I was going to start my research. And I had a lot of videos already listed up, so I thought, well, this is something to get my teeth into. So that's how I started on YouTube, and that was branching out from Google Maps. So then I thought, well, you know, what else is there? There's aerial. I can get into aircraft without actually getting into an aircraft. I can just basically look at any kind of aircraft videos. So it can be hang gliders, paragliders, hang gliders who take aerial shots. I can look at the sea. I can look at diving videos. I can look at caves. I can get into any cave I want to without actually getting off my seat. And I thought, well, this is just fantastic. You know, if you think like 80s and 90s, you couldn't do this. You'd have to go to a library. You'd have to find the book you're looking for, one that caters to your requirements, and that's not always easy. You didn't have any Google Maps or Google search to try and look for listings of books and ancient texts. You had to already know of them, or get advice from a librarian, etc., or do some deep research to find what you're looking for. You're really looking for, and you know, now I can basically go to wherever I want in the world, and I can get into any cave I want in the world as long as someone's filmed it, and I can basically look at what they're looking at without moving off my seat. It is fantastic that you can do that, but I also have had a look at some places and some landscapes myself. I like to do that also, so that it's just not exclusive in me looking at other people's videos. But yeah, when I can get out and go to such places, you know, I've done that. I did a few of those in last year and the year before, and seen some really amazing stuff, some really cool places, even locally, like not too far away, within the like 10-mile radius, 20-mile radius. There's some really amazing stuff that I just never knew was there ever. I never saw it the way I see it now. You know, before it was just, it's just another rock formation, but look closer at these rock formations and you see some very interesting stuff. So yeah, branching out just from Google Maps and the Bible, and then getting onto YouTube and checking out hiking videos, diving videos, caving videos, anything that's aerial, from an aerial perspective, so airplanes, hang gliders, anything, like, there's all kinds of, but there's some really weird craft out there that people get hold of and just like take the footage from an aerial perspective of the landscapes. So once I started looking at these types of videos, I was seeing a whole new I was seeing a whole new world that once existed. You could like basically see it for yourself. It's right there. If you look close enough and you look hard enough, it's all there in the landscapes. I found out soon enough that dragons were real. So dragons did exist. I'm not saying that because someone said, oh, dragons did exist. Oh, okay, right, fair enough. Dragons existed. That's fair enough. I've had to find this out for myself. I can absolutely prove that dragons existed. No problem whatsoever. I can prove that other beings besides humans were here before humans, well before humans. Where they came from, I have no idea. I couldn't say where they come from. There are other people who have a fair idea of where they might come from, because other people have pretty much discovered what I've discovered, and they're more kind of cleared up. But also, you have to be careful about these people who say they've had conversations with extraterrestrials telepathically. I kind of steer clear of all that. And they say they come from blah blah blah, this star system, that star system. And then they write books about it, and everyone says, oh well, they must have come from there. And the Pleiades or Sirius, Andromeda, I don't know. I don't think anyone knows where these things came from, but they certainly came to Earth at some point in history, and it's all there in the landscape. The mountains, it's all there. If you want to find it, it's all there. In the caves, it's all there. It's under the ocean, it's all there. So I found out about dragons and the reality of dragons. I found out some things about the Titanic, which are very interesting. I had a look at a video of the Titanic exploration. I feel that was about 10-15 years ago. They shot footage of the Explorer in the submersible, and 1.5 hours is available to view online if anyone's interested to see that. There's an excellent video that's an hour and a half duration. I've looked at that video 2 times over, I think, already, and there's some. Let's just say that there are the Titanic, as told by James Cameron, although there is a love story running parallel to the actual story of the disaster itself, there's more to it than that as well. And I think right from the outset, if you watch Titanic, James Cameron drops a hint right at the start. You'll see in the opening sequence, I think in the intro, you see a boot. They zoom in on the boot. Well, it's what's behind that boot that's of real interest, and that will give you a clue. If you can actually figure out what it is, then you can figure out that Titanic. There's more to that disaster than's being told. I think the whole idea of it hitting an iceberg is not accurate enough, or not accurate at all. I've read a couple of books on the Titanic, and I was reading some witness accounts, and some of those accounts are very, very interesting, to say the least. And the ones that spring out don't. I'm not getting iceberg. Let's just say that I'm not getting iceberg. They're not seeing icebergs. So I will try and find a passage from that book that I'm referring to right now. I'll try and find that passage, and hopefully I can read that out. But yeah, found out a lot of stuff. So to begin with, it was known as my Secret Knowledge Odyssey. So what I did, I thought, okay, I'll change the name. I don't need to call it Secret Knowledge, because that sounds, it sounds like I'm trying to piss people off. Not the case. I think everyone's entitled to find out as much as they want through their own research about the world. Why should it be a secret? Why should there be secrets? If you want to find out about the history of the world, and you're willing to put in the hours to do that, then why should anyone else be bothered about that? It's only your take on the world. You know, it's, if I say dragons exist, I don't expect the whole world to suddenly think, oh, dragons must exist. He said dragons exist. Just no more than no one would believe dragons existed just because I said I was told that dragons exist and I hadn't done the research myself. You know, and I wouldn't believe anybody unless I had done the research myself. I wouldn't actually, if someone told me dragons did exist, honestly, just take my word for it. I'd think, well, you know, let me do the research and let me look to see if I can find that for myself. So yeah, it started off as my secret knowledge odyssey. I then changed it to my ancient Earth research, which I think I preferred that. Secret knowledge it's not secret knowledge. I'm just trying to find out what I can for myself, and I think everyone has that right. You know, all the tools are there for you to do that now. Whereas before, at one point, they'd never been there. Now we have all kinds of means to be able to engage yourself in research, and if you want to look for the clues, it's all there in the landscapes, and it's all there in the caves, it's all there under the ocean. If you're willing to put in the hours to look and have a good look, and if you've got the eye to see it, not everybody has, I certainly know that. Not everybody sees what I see, but I'm pretty much confident in my own ability to see things. I just don't think some people are tuned in the same way to the geography and the topography and the geology. They can't see the things you're seeing. They just can't see it. They don't have the eyes for it. And if they do have the eyes for it, they're certainly kind of playing the game, that they're not seeing it. And there might be reasons for that, but yeah, certainly I found out something very interesting about the Titanic, and also I can absolutely confirm that dragons did exist, with no doubt whatsoever. I have the evidence. I have plenty of evidence that dragons did exist. If you want to find them yourself, they're in the caves. You want to go looking at caving videos on YouTube, there's an excellent channel. Well, I found the best channels I possibly can for each kind of type of pursuit. So I found what I believe to be the best hiking channel, caving channel. There's a lot of diving channels out there. I found a really interesting video that was filmed in Norway, I believe, where like a 20-minute video where they went and did an explore in this weird cave, underwater cave system. And I'm thinking to myself, this looks as though it was once real. It looks like an actual huge, gigantic formerly living or creature, or it looks like they're actually in the actual inside part of it. So they're actually swimming and walking through what seems to be a body, the internal part of a body. Certainly very unusual, and it's more than just a rock formation, that's for sure. So that's Norway. Scandinavia is also a very interesting place if you just check it out on Google Maps, or you just check out hiking videos. So there's some really interesting formations in Scandinavia. Yeah, it's all there. It's if you're willing to look at the videos, there's some very good channels out there. If you want to look at a hiking channel, the best out there, as far as I'm concerned, is the Outbound Mind. It's called The Outbound Mind. OUTBOUNDMIND, Outbound Mind. Absolutely superb channel. And then probably the best caving channel is Action Adventure Twins, and they're based in America. I think they're based in the state of Georgia, so they're from that area. And they do some amazing explorations in the cave systems. They find some absolutely incredible cave systems, and what's in them cave systems is absolutely even more incredible than the actual cave itself, or what's perceived to be just known as a cave. Well, sometimes these caves are more than just caves. Mining videos, mines, caves, hiking, aerial. So you've either got Google Maps. For your aerials, you can either do Google Maps, or you can just like get an airborne craft, helicopters, Grand Canyon. A lot of good Grand Canyon videos for helicopters. You can basically have a good look at the Grand Canyon. some incredible stuff out there. So yeah, started March, I think it was mid-March, maybe a week into March, just over a week into March 2021. So almost 3 years, not quite 3 years, but almost 3 years of research. Started off on Google Maps, the Bible, just started branching out to YouTube, and found the channels that I really liked, and then thought, well, okay, this is going to be my main channel for hiking, this is going to be my main channel for caving. These are the best I've ever seen, so I've not come across anything as good as these, so I'm going to stick with these. So I worked my way through, got permission off the channel owners to take screen captures, settled on the channels, and then I found out a lot of these channels had quite a large listing of videos going a few years back, so I thought, well, I'll start from the furthest back and then I'll work my way through them. Got permission off about 20 odd other people, other channel owners, and last year got permission from the EV Nautilus, I think it's called EV Nautilus, and they would do some fantastic explorations around the Pacific, around Honolulu and Hawaii, just off those islands, and just seen some amazing stuff there as well, formations. So now that brings me to a channel I'm going to recommend. I'm only going to recommend this channel, and the reason being is because this guy seems to, his content seems to chime with my research, and I've actually reached out to this guy and tried to converse with this guy, but he was dismissive, so that was that. So that was a few years ago, pretty much when I started my research, and I came across this channel on another channel, and this guy, although he's not accurate all the time, I find that sometimes he's just not accurate with what he's saying. You can't be accurate all the time, you know. But what I'm saying is he's got the right idea. He's basically saying and communicating to the world that these rock formations, so like for example, the truth about dragons and giant serpents far exceeds the myths. So 7 years ago he started his channel. Around 2016, 2017, I don't know, maybe 2016. And he's on the right track. But like I say, he's not anywhere near 100% accurate with his stuff, with some of his claims and some of his research. But he's on the right track with what the message is trying to send out, and that is that these rocks, in most cases, they're fossils. So when you take, for example, a dinosaur, you have, a lot of the time you have a skeleton that's discovered. Well, the problem is something that happened here, where these things that are probably far more ancient than the dinosaurs, these things never died the same kind of death as a dinosaur, which died a natural death, or it rotted, its body rotted and decomposed in the normal way, whereas something happened in history that kind of petrified whatever they are, whether it's dragons or other beings. They petrified almost instantaneously, so that their bodies never decomposed. They basically transformed into rock. So these are every bit as much fossils as dinosaur fossils as you see them in skeletal form. But these aren't skeletal form, these are rock form. But is there a difference? What's the difference? If it's a fossil, it's a fossil. So he calls them mud fossils, and I think that's what they're generally referred to as, is mud fossils. So I can basically say that what this guy is actually saying is spot on in terms of what he's trying to say about the fossils, is that they were alive at some point in history, and they're not just rocks, because after all, what are rocks? What is a rock? Why is it even there if it's just a rock? What purpose does it serve? Well, think about it. A lot of these rocks, they're basically petrified. So it basically entails a bit of research into petrification, instant petrification, mud. A very rapid deluge of mud can just envelop all these living beings and creatures and just turn them into stone rocks within moments, and they don't die the natural death. They're always I've seen so many cases of these things. Just like you can clearly see the faces. In some cases, you can see the snakes. You can see gigantic snakes. I've got loads of evidence of this, and I can prove it. So if anybody's willing to dismiss it, I'm willing to show them the evidence. I'm sure it would change their mind straight away. Some of the stuff I've got, it is that good. And you can basically see the eyes, and you can see the bodies, and you can see the faces and the heads and the curvations and the curves of the body, and just how it like a snake's head curves outwards at the head. It curves out, and you've got the same thing happening in some rocks. And then you can see the eyes. You can see the eyes of the snake. You can actually literally see the eyes of the snake on either side of the head, but it's a rock. But now it's just a rock. But what is a rock? It's a fossil. How far back do these things go? Well, I don't know. That's the only problem I have, is that I don't know, and I'm never going to be able to determine that, because there's nothing to really confirm that, unless all you can say is if someone comes along and says, well, that rock formation there is 2 million years old. Well, if I'm seeing something in that rock formation that resembles a formerly living creature, then I can then say, well, that's 2 million. That creature was 2 million living here 2 million years ago, if what they're saying about the formation is correct and accurate. That's the only way I can do this with my research. So this guy claims dragons existed. I can absolutely say dragons did exist. But like I say, this guy's not entirely accurate with what he claims, but the general message he's sending out about mud fossils and dragons, etc., he's absolutely spot on. I think he sometimes gets a little bit confused with what he's seeing. The message you're sending is right, it's spot on, but what you believe it to have been, I don't agree with. And again, he looks at Google Maps, so he'll do a lot of Google Map research and looking at kind of interesting anomalies in the landscapes. And he sees dragons. So he'll see a huge dragon, but then I'm noticing other dragons around it, but he's not pointing that out. He's only seeing the one dragon, and sometimes he's seeing stuff that's not what it is. But yeah, he does identify dragons in the landscape, so he's correct on that, and I can back him up with my own research. But as far as him being 100% accurate, I mean, no, he's not. But an excellent channel if you want to kind of see things a little differently and how they should be seen, because this is all part of the lie about our history. So 6 years ago, he's got loads of videos, so I've not seen a lot of his work. Well, I'm not in agreement with what he puts out entirely from his research. I think just the general message that he's on the right track with the fact that, wow, it's pissing it down out there. Like with dragons and petrification, he's spot on, and I can back him up with my own evidence. I know that this guy's been slated and criticised by certain elements in the YouTube community, and they're basically poo-pooing what he says and what he claims. Well, you know, I've tried to reach out to him. I've tried to kind of not team up with him, but basically say, yeah, I basically sent him a message saying you're spot on with what you're saying. Just saying I'm in agreement with you. I'm doing my own research, and from what I'm seeing, it chimes very much with what you're seeing, and what you're claiming from your own research. And yet he was kind of I didn't get a reply. He was just dismissive, and fair enough. You know, I'm on this guy's side, and people are slating him and criticising him and kind of rubbishing what he's saying and trying to make him sound like a silly old man. But he's talking a load of rubbish, but he's not. So yeah, he's got loads of videos. So this is a channel I would recommend. Mud Fossil University, 194,000 subscribers. So he's got a fair old following there. It's 250,000 almost. Not far off 250,000. You know, there's some people out there who like what he's saying. It's not like he's got like 4 followers or something, and no one's like paying attention to this guy. He's got 194, and that's quite a considerable amount. That's the first channel I would recommend anyone goes to see if they're curious, if they're just curious about petrification, and that they might have seen something on Google Maps and they want to kind of check out a channel that's kind of, just listen to this guy, just listen to him. I know that this guy isn't always accurate, but the general message that he's sending out is absolutely spot on, and there's a lot more to the landscapes and geology than the so-called experts. They tell us how it all started, how it all formed, and all the business, and they're the experts because they've got the degrees and they went to university and got the degrees, and then they're in the professional jobs, the professional arenas, and they're the ones to listen to because they're the experts. Well, I've found that this guy speaks a lot more truth than any expert I've ever listened to. So where geology is concerned, if you want to find out the truth about geology, you can do much worse than start off with this guy here, because he's telling you how it was, not how it was, this kind of make-believe idea of how the earth was formed, and all the landscapes, etc. All the bullshit, basically, because it is bullshit. It doesn't matter whether they got a degree or not. You know, bullshit is bullshit, and basically this guy is anti-bullshit. He's not accurate all the time, but that doesn't mean it's bullshit. He's just inaccurate. But he's basically, general message, as I keep repeating myself here, is spot on. And if you want to find out about geology, don't go to any experts, so-called experts, because this guy, by the very definition of what expert is an expert. Through his own research. 7 years of research by the looks of it, if not more, but 7 years of YouTube activity displaying his research. So yeah, I applaud this guy. I've reached out to him, like I said, didn't want to know, dismissive, fair enough. Doesn't affect me and my research. I'll just crack on with my research, you know, and maybe at some point in the future we can compare notes and kind of have some kind of dialogue. But yeah, Mud Fossil University. Check out that channel.